mining sector is under increasing scrutiny from regulators, investors, and communities it operates in. Fines, operational delays, and reputational damage from environmental missteps are no longer rare. They are now becoming routine. As the pressure to reduce environmental impact mounts, many miners are asking the same question. How do we stay compliant, transparent, and still profitable? Well, the answer increasingly lies in integrated environmental management systems. One of the companies leading this charge is Isometrix. Joining us is Cecilia Jofre, the company's Chief Sales Officer and Business Director. Cecilia, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, Devan, for having me. Good afternoon.
Let's start with the basics. What's broken about the way environmental risks have traditionally been managed in mining, and how does the integration of environmental health safety efforts fix that?
It's very interesting how you've asked that question, which is about how are environmental risks broken? And I guess that's exactly it, that risks are not just environmental or safety or community related. Increasingly, companies do realize that they need to work across a variety of functions and stakeholders and look at their operations with an integrated and holistic lens. So a risk may impact an environmental aspect or a community aspect or a safety aspect. And traditionally, we have been operating in functional and standalone areas. So that has ended, right? It's very important to have a look at integrated thinking, which is what takes into account a set of risks and opportunities while a company tries to create a long-term value, and how the information flows between a variety of areas and stakeholders.
So, Cecilia, having said that, what you want to do as a mine is moving away from being reactive and being proactive when it comes to risk management. Why is that so important for mines?
Being proactive is incredibly important because it sets you apart from, other operators that may be in the area, but also because it allows you to anticipate the potential problems that may happen, the needs of the community. So if you were to have the ability to perhaps monitor controls that aren't working and see where else, in which other risk that is present, and you were able to review that in a proactive way, you could put measurements in place and corrective actions and preventive actions rather to avoid having problems in your operations, maintaining your social license to operate, your trust from the communities, and above all, making sure that we're not degrading the environment, which is super important, of course.
One of the problems that miners often face is that you have regulations changing ever so often. And one wonders how environmental management safety helps a miner avoid non-compliance, helps them avoid fines. How does that work in terms of avoidance?
I would say that more than avoidance, what we want to do, yes, we want to avoid, but we also want to make sure that we comply because it makes sense to comply, because you actually want to contribute and augment a number of capitals, be that environmental capital, human capital. We want to do things right. You're absolutely correct. There's a plethora of not only regulations, but standards that mining companies need to adhere to. So it is quite important that they are able to deconstruct their permits or the regulation into a number of obligations that they need to follow through, and that they're able to move through those obligations through the system so that things are being done in a proactive way and not really having to encounter remediation or fines or things that could stop production or again, lose that license to operate or degrade the environment. So it's very important to maintain, to be compliant, not just as a tick box exercise, but because it's part of the core values of how a company operates.
All right, which brings me to, I think, a very important case here, and this is cost savings. And I want to know how a system like this, really, when it gets down to the ground, really helps a company save those costs related to environmental management safety? How does it really work?
Very interesting question. Thank you. And we've been privileged to work with hundreds of mining companies in the 25 years we've been in operation. And they share with us how it is that this is a business case for them. And it's something that really helps them save money. A lot of it has got to do with saving time, getting timely decisions, getting the information that is required for making good decisions in their operation. It's also having access to the insights of the information, exposing relationships that may not have been evident before. But by having the ability to play with the information, getting better decisions and getting the information to the right stakeholders at the right time. As you can imagine, mines are under a lot of scrutiny, like we discussed earlier, and a lot of this is related to audits, internal or external as well. Imagine if you were to have repeat auditing findings year after year after year. Not only are you not improving your operations, but the cost of doing that, both internally and externally, will break you. So bringing all those efficiencies from continuous improvement by catching the information early and doing what needs to be done and taking it through a process where you're able to improve your process is massively important, on top of the avoidance of things like fines, lost production, and also reputational risk, which are the other qualitative elements that you may have in managing risk.
Cecilia, I get a sense that companies should be seeing this as a strategic investment rather than a compliance expense. I mean, are you getting a sense is that this is the way mining companies are beginning to see it or not?
Oh, we absolutely see that. It's definitely a strategic imperative, particularly because of the need to have access to the information in a timely manner to make proper decisions, and also to make sure that all the environmental plans and social plans and commitment are adhered to. And, companies do the things that they say they're going to do while they create long-term value for all stakeholders. And that is part, making profit is, of course, great value for the shareholders, but also contributing to the community, contributing to employment creation, contributing to improving the environment in the long term, because let's face it, mining tends to break the environment initially, but at some point there are remediation plans and reclamations. So that is how a mining company can be part of a sustainable ecosystem in which they are contributing to a variety of capitals and interests, not just those of shareholders.
Yeah, interesting. And as I wrap up, let me wrap up with what you just said now, that this type of management system presumably will not only give you all of those benefits, but can I ask, does it also help to speed up permitting, for example? Because there's a lot of transparency that comes along with this approach, doesn't it?
It does. And I guess that would depend very much on the jurisdiction. We do work all over the world, and different jurisdictions have got different requirements and different timelines. But with the Critical Mineral Acts, you can see as well, there's a lot of acceleration on certain projects that may have been stopped before for different reasons. But having your house in order in terms of making sure that you have those plans, that you are doing what you said you were going to do, that you have recorded your free, prior, and informed consent from your communities, that you maintain your engagements. I think that demonstrates that a company can operate in a manner that deserves permits to be granted to them.
Oh, well, it certainly does sound intriguing and compelling indeed. Thanks very much indeed for your time, Cecilia Jofre. She's the Chief Sales Officer and Business Director at Isometrix. Thanks indeed for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.